Welcome, everybody, to Bubbles with Bethany. I'm so excited to be back this year. And I'm even more excited to have a fellow hotel investor, which I'm really excited about. Rich Summers here joining us today for Bubbles. Rich is, he's a boutique hotel investor. He's got a fund to do the very same. He's got this amazing podcast called The Rich Summers Report. And he even has a really awesome mastermind geared towards helping other people become boutique hotel syndicators, which is how I think we actually met in the first place, right? Is
It
through
is.
that
It
through
is.
that mastermind. Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely.
I'm so excited to have you. I love that we can share our passion for all things boutique hotels.
Likewise, Bethany. I appreciate you having me on, and super excited for the conversation today.
So, Rich, let me just ask you. I love this question because it makes people really think about sort of what their lane is, and I really want to know, what is your unique superpower?
That is a great question. That's something I've never answered before, but I would say, off the top, my superpower is really helping people, everyday folks, realize that there is a lot of more wealth to be built outside of the traditional methods, such as Wall Street, investing in your 401k, diversifying, playing it safe. Because I was always taught from a young age to go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a job. And for the most part, that's what I did. And I worked 11 years as an air traffic controller for the government. And I put away money in the 401k, and yes, it grew, but it did not grow as fast as they tell you will grow. And it wasn't until I woke up one day and I realized, wow, there's a whole other world out there, real estate investing, to where I can cash out my 401k, which is what I ultimately did. And I started putting it into real assets, commercial real estate, apartment buildings, boutique hotels, short-term rentals. And I started buying real assets that started really compounding my wealth over time. And so my superpower, I would say, Bethany, is really helping people realize that there is a lot more wealth to be built out there outside of the traditional means, such as Wall Street.
I love that answer so much. I mean, I think that's why most of us are here, right? The people that we talk to in this world. And I love real estate so much. I grew up the same way, where it was like, if you want to get out of Ohio, sorry, Ohioans, but I did want to get out of Ohio. If you're a smart girl, you go to law school, you go to med school, and that's your answer, right? So, here I went to law. I started actually pre-med, and then I was like, nah, screw that. Went to
Where
law
in Ohio?
school. Outside of Cleveland, suburbs of Cleveland.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And great place to be from. So not knocking Ohio. And same thing. I didn't even know that real estate investing was a real option for me. And so I really do love that. And I love that real estate is sort of the great equalizer. You can start off from any level of wealth, any level of education. And if you're willing to put in the work, you can get there. And I think
Yep,
that's just the coolest
absolutely.
thing about real estate.
And in all reality, anyone can do it. You
Right. That's
know,
right.
I think, when I was growing up, I used to see these big apartment buildings and hotels, and I thought, man, it must be nice. But I didn't realize that a lot of folks out there actually pull together money from investors to buy a lot of these properties, which is pretty cool. And it's very unique as well.
Right. I love that. I didn't know that either. And when I started off in law, even I started off on the venture side, the more traditional, right, finance. So venture companies, tech startups, that kind of thing, mergers and acquisitions. And I didn't even know. I mean, I knew it was there, real estate, right? But I wasn't really in that world until I met my partner Mauricio about 6 years ago. And I was helping him out, and I was doing some of these documents, and I'm like, what do you mean net cash flow? Like, these people get paid before there's a say what? There's just cash. Right? Because a lot of these startups, it was like all or nothing. Maybe you 10x your money, maybe you lose your money, probably you'll lose your money. And it was sort of like just, betting it all. And real estate, I was like, well, this is like the slow and steady, right? Which not even really all that slow, depending. And it felt so much safer to me. I love when I hear people say, oh, I don't know about real estate, it's so risky. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It feels so much safer to me than the world that I came from. And so I think it's kind of great that you have people like you out there educating folks to explain to them how attainable this really is. To the next question that I really want to ask you, which is, I am a big proponent of helping people create conscious wealth. And that is one of those things I've learned means something different to everyone. So what does it mean to you to create conscious wealth?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, Bethany, I think wealth is much more than just money, right? So I think of it as many buckets. So family, health. Health is a very important bucket for myself. I think all these things that we do to invest in real estate and to better our lives, whether it's through business or money, or even family and that sort of thing, relationships, none of that matters if you don't have your health. And so health is one of the big priorities for me. Family, friends, relationships, and time, really, right? Because at the end of the day, time is our most valuable asset here. And so to maximize the time that we have left on this planet, to be able to spend that time how we like, that to me is wealth, and being well-rounded and balanced in all facets. That to me is wealth, really.
I love that. It's so beautiful, and it is like I said, it means something different to everybody. And I'm interested to know if that, and I know I didn't tell you there'd be any follow-up questions, but there are follow-up questions. I'm interested to know that as you've grown in your business and as you've grown in your self development, your personal development, how that definition has evolved for you. I know it has for me, and I would assume that if you've done any kind of personal development work, and I follow you enough to know that you do, how has that
Mhm.
definition evolved for you?
Oh, big time. I think for me, that definition really early on was really just money. And then that's all I was kind of thinking about. But, as I've grown, I've been blessed to be around a lot of folks that I inspire to become, people that are above me, and just being around a lot of high caliber folks. I've learned that wealth is a lot of different buckets. And so that definition really has evolved from, just money to, hey, it's more than that. It's more than just money. It's the ability to go and have valuable relationships with friends, with family, being fit, having good health, spirit, mindset, all these different buckets blended together, is really how it's evolved.
So you just closed on a hotel. Can I hear about that?
Yeah, so we just closed last month, December, to close out the year, on a 40 unit, basically a new construction hotel up in Lake Chelan, Washington, which is a destination location about 3 hours outside of Seattle. Really cool lake, great weather, good, basically everything out there. But anyhow, so our private bridge lender, who we've done a lot of financing with thus far, was walking one of our properties here in San Diego and said, "Hey, we are about to foreclose on one of our borrowers. They have a new construction 40 unit boutique hotel. We think that you guys would be the perfect buyers for it. We need to get this off of our hands before the end of the year for tax purposes." And so we looked at the deal. We quickly went to LOI. They accepted it. We flew up there to Seattle. The lender's actually up in Seattle. They flew us up there in a private plane up to Lake Chelan. It's near all the wineries, about a block from the water, which is really cool. And they gave us a tremendous discount because they just had to get it off their hands. They had other offers that came in much higher than ours, but they wanted us to buy it. They trusted us. They wanted the deal to go good. And so the hotel last appraised for 7.5 million. We were able to pick it up for 4.87 million with the
What?
seller credit. They gave us, yeah, and they financed it for us. They gave us 0% financing for through July of this year. Just give us a little bit extra runway to get this thing off the ground, and get it stabilized. So super excited for that, and it's a big win for not just us, but most importantly for our investors.
That is incredible. And I'll tell you, that's a real testament to your ability to develop strong relationships, trust, and also just having this amazing credibility behind you. So well done to you and your team, though. It's fantastic for your investors, obviously, but it is, it's a really, I think, a testament to the relationships that you build and the credibility that you have through your
It,
experience.
I appreciate you, Bethany. And really, like, I think real estate and business, it's a relationship game. I always say, hey, if you're not making the money you want to make, it's simply because you're not shaking enough hands, right? But yeah, excited for that. And then I'm more excited for an opportunity that we're actually closing on in like 15 days. This one's a 44 unit boutique hotel up in Bodega Bay, which is it's a bay about an hour just outside of San Francisco in Sonoma County, wine country, but right on the water. All 44 units have waterfront views. The owner, this hotel's been in the ownership for about 35 years. The son has it. He's just ready to let it go. The thing's bleeding money. It's underperforming. They got an innkeeper that's on the property that basically is scaring away all the guests. When we went up to tour the property initially, the broker was like, "Hey, the owner doesn't want the staff to know that it's being sold. So just pretend like you're a prospective guest and you want to check out some of the units. So we walk up to the property and we go into the lobby and the innkeeper comes out. We're like, hey, we're just here to like look up for some rooms. We're interested in doing a group booking a couple months from now. What are the chances we could look at like 3 or 4 of your rooms? And she's like, oh, we don't do groups. She goes, but you can go to the hotel next door. And literally 44 units. We're up there on a Monday. There's literally no one in the parking lot. There's 0 cars in the parking lot. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a small group. It's just going to be a couple of us. What are the chances we could look at like one of your rooms? And she's like, no, it's not going to be a possibility. She's like, again, you can go to the hotel next door. So we leave, call the broker. I'm like, yo, what's going on? And he's like, you just book a room and go back. So we booked a room later in the day. We did some due diligence with some of the surrounding properties, came back, and Lauren on my team, she went up and like did the whole transaction. We got to see one of the rooms. But what we didn't know is we got it under contract and we went up there to do the full inspection, got into all 44 units. It turns out all 44 units have bay views. We had no idea. The broker didn't even know either. And
Wow.
so anyways, we just got the appraisal back. It appraised at 10.6 million as is, with a stabilized value of 14 million. And we have it under contract at 7 million. And so we're stepping into $3.6 million of
Did you get a
equity
Groupon
gain.
for hotels, Rich? Like, what
I know,
are you
right?
doing?
I know, it's crazy. And so the best part is we're taking it down with 3 of our mastermind members. So 2 of them actually sourced the deal. And then they came to us and they said, hey, do you guys want to partner? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And so the best part is we get to take it down with a few of our mastermind members and take down a cool waterfront hotel for a massive discount. So super excited for it. And I also love wine. So I'm excited to close and maybe do a little celebratory thing up there at some local wineries.
Absolutely. And I'm in for that. And we should talk to Britt about hosting retreats there as well, because I do love me some Sonoma.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's tough. I think that we are going to see a shift. And I think you're right. Just in what I'm seeing is a shift toward the more luxury properties. So not your just cookie cutter vanilla Airbnbs, but more of a luxury. And even what we're looking for, right, is the resort type properties for events.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing is this is like, you got to think a lot of folks bought Airbnbs in like 21, 22 when like rates were really low, and then they were looking at the pandemic numbers. And so if you look at the pandemic, like, Airbnb numbers, they're inflated because there was no international travel. So everyone was traveling locally to weekend destinations, places they could get to for, 3-hour drive or less. And so a lot of folks went and bought up a bunch of Airbnb properties at a time where the interest rates were at an all-time low. They overpaid for properties. I mean, let's be honest, the second half of 21 and the first half of 22, there was 25 offers on almost every property on the MLS.
Yep.
And so a lot of those were Airbnb investors, and now they got caught with their pants down. And so it will be interesting to kind of see where things level out. I don't think regulation is a bad thing for Airbnb. I think if you can find a way to legally operate, like, for example, we're in San Diego. In San Diego, May of last year, the number of short-term rentals was 17,000 in the city of San Diego. They slashed it from 17,000 to 5,500. And out of the 9 markets that we manage in, San Diego is by far the best market for short-term rentals. You don't have to push and pull in these listings. The weather here is great year-round. And so these things just cash flow really well. And so part of it is because of the regulation. So if you can find a way to legally operate, I think the regulation's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, keeps the saturation low.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, and of course I'm excited by it, right? Of course, and I do want all my clients to do well. That's obviously good for my business on the law firm side, is for all the clients to do well. But however the market shifts, it shifts. And I think what I'm seeing too is, yes, Airbnb's taking a hit, short-term rentals taking a hit, but good operators are good operators, right? Mm-hmm. And so when people go into these different markets, there's either a contingency plan, or they already knew going in, like, hey, there could be a downturn and here's what we're going to do to weather that. I mean, I think you're a good example of that, right? You're not necessarily getting your ass handed to you right now because you're an experienced operator. It's sort of these people that sort of limp in, right, when the market's crazy, and if you trip over a property, you make money. And you're right, a lot of people are getting caught with their pants down now.